actually on the page that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But I want to go back and show you where I put this page. I actually created an extra module temporarily just for the end of this particular project because the stuff that we're going to talk about today is going to also help you next for the next unit. And so I'll put it in there. But I just wanted to, I'm going too quickly for Zoom here. And welcome. It's good to see you all. Here it is. So I created a temporary module called Library Research Support. And there's a page that I was on called Library Research Support. And then I have a link to an MLA formatting guide for Purdue OWL, but you also have your handbook, the Hacker Handbook, Rules for Writers, if you need it. And then there's a short video here, and when I send you this video, I'm going to also link it there. It's a 3-minute video that helps you think about how to determine whether sources are useful for your research or not that are not from the library, okay? So I want to give you full disclosure that when I am using the library, I have to remind myself how to use it as well because every library is a little bit different. Libraries are constantly updating where you find things to do research. Like I understand how to do research, but just getting onto the library webpage is sometimes very hard. So even today, when I was going through my page and following my own steps, it took me a moment to find where I needed to go. And so I am going to walk you through those steps on this page, but then I'm going to take you to Cerritos College and show you that as well because it can be a little bit overwhelming, okay? The other thing that I want to share is that the librarians at our college are amazing. They want to help you. And so I know right now you're just finding some sources that you find to be interesting about gender conflict. And I'm asking you, that's all I'm asking you to do is to find a source and share it with us. And it doesn't have to necessarily be from the library. It can be a source that's found on the internet. And I'm going to talk about that with you as well. But I will tell you the one thing that I think is really important is that Cerritos College, I put this on a very big little big writing, big font here. Cerritos College spends thousands of dollars a year to give you access to the most relevant and reliable sources, but sometimes students don't tap into those sources because they're afraid of the library. And I will tell you, when I was going to UCLA, I went to a community college and then I transferred. I went to the UCLA, and the full disclosure as well, when I was younger, one of my favorite things to do with my dad was to go to the library. And we would go to the library, and we were allowed to check out 12 books on our library card, and I would check out 12 on mine, and I would take some of my dad's space on his, and I would find all these books, and I'd bring them home, and a couple of weeks later, we'd come back to the library and repeat, okay? And what was exciting about that to me was that I felt like I knew my library. It was a tiny little library. I knew where to find the books. But when I got to college, it was a whole different game. And I'm from the generation of the card catalog, okay, where you had to go and look up little cards, and then you'd find the card, and then you go, okay, now I have to find the book. And it was very daunting, and it was very scary for me, even though I felt very comfortable with the library. And so I want to share with you that even now I go to the librarians and ask for help finding sources as a teacher. And it was kind of funny because I was trying to help a student find something on our Cerritos College Library website, and I hadn't reviewed the page that I created, and we were just sitting there working together trying to navigate how to look up something, and it took a little bit of time. So it's normal to feel a little bit nervous. It's normal to not feel good about, like, gosh, I can't even find something in the library. I have trouble doing that sometimes as well. So it's not always as intuitive as it probably could be. So please feel comfortable going in and asking the librarians for help when you get your research paper handout next time, which we'll talk about that more. I recommend that you go into the library with your handout and then ask them for help, and they will point you in the right direction. So I just wanted to give you an introduction here. So basically, my page here it helps you to be able to figure out how to get onto the library and how to find a place where you could look up research and things to think about. Okay, so I'm going to show you that I actually did get here on my own. I had to go back to my page. I'm like, okay, because it's not always intuitive to me. So I am going to actually go to Cerritos College here, a fresh new start. I'm going to keep toggling back and forth between my page and this, and then you can ask me questions along the way if you need to. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so on my page, it says to find the library online, go to cerritos.edu and click on current students. To the right, there's a link to the library. And you can work on the library from home as long as you have your sign-in. So I'm on here, and here is the link for current students. I could find it quickly because I just looked for it before I spoke with you. Sometimes I'm like, okay, where is it? Where is it? But it's right here. So you click on it. And then you go to, let me see if I'm hiding it here. Yes, I am. I'm going to move us over. You find the library and you click on it. And here is the library homepage. So now I'm going to go back to my page here, and it says to choose research databases located to the left under library links. So it's right here. So I'm going to go back, and I am going to click on research databases. And I'm going to move us again. Now I will tell you right here, it tells you that you need to sign in. And every single time I go on this page, I'm trying to click on this so I could sign in. And I wish that it just would let you click and sign in, because I'm like, well, how am I going to use this if I can't sign in? Well, it's letting you know that you are going to eventually have to sign in. Okay? And I mean, yeah, there's a few things they could do to make this a little more intuitive for somebody who's just used to, it says to do it and there should be a click there. Okay, so it says then to scroll down and choose Ebscohost, okay? And the reason I am choosing Ebscohost is because it uses a bunch of different databases covering a lot of different subjects and topics. Hi, Axel. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hi. So that's what we use for my class and maybe other classes. But if you are doing research in another class, you're going to want to ask the teacher where you should go to look for sources, because it may be different. Okay. So this is my page. I'm going to go back to this page, and I'm going to scroll down to Ebscohost, which is right here. And this is where the sign-in is going to take place. And I know this because I'm already signed in. I didn't sign out. The sign-in comes at this place. And so I would sign in my name and my password, and it's the same number and password that you use for everything else. Okay? I'm going to select all here. And it says, note, selecting all databases for search may result in a slow response time. And I'm okay with that. But if you want to look and see, like, oh yeah, this may not be the best search, so I'm going to unclick some of these things. Audiobook collection, I don't need that. But I mean, if you do this, there's things that you could unclick, right? I don't need nursing. I don't need dentistry, right? So you could look through. I don't really need an ebook because I don't want that. But you could go through and decide that you're going to choose some, or you can just click all, okay? I'm going to go back to my page here. And I said, you know, click all the databases. But like I said, you could, it's up to you what you want to do.
I got a question.
Yes.
These databases, do they already come with the like cited citation?
What it does is that if you use it, there should be a link there where you say, click on the link for MLA or APA or Chicago or whatever it is you're doing. So
Yeah.
you should be able to do that. Yes,
Okay.
easily enough. Yes. Hi.
You have a lot of work. You have a lot of work in this class. I don't know why you have so much. The other thing is I'm kind of way behind. I'm trying to catch up.
Yes.
And since this is my first meeting, I hope I can get maybe extra points. That I'd ask.
Can you put the little microphone up here?
Yeah, can you hear me
now? Now I can hear you better. Yes.
Okay, yeah. You have a lot of work in this class. You have a whole lot of
yes.
work. And it's just it's a lot. I'm kind of way behind. And since this is my first meeting, I was wondering if I can get extra points for maybe just showing up, if that helps.
Well, you know, I have to tell you what's going to happen. First off,
I'm going to do the work. Don't worry, I'm going to do it.
First thing, what I recommend that you do is that you focus in on the essays, if that's where you're at. And number two is that by showing up at this and you just put in your name for the Zoom meeting, you automatically get credit. You don't have to write any notes or anything else. So I
think I'll do it anyways because I need it.
Well, you don't need to. You don't need to do the notes. You'll be fine. Okay. You'll be fine. Okay. But this right now, we're just talking about finding sources just for one little piece of something that we're doing. So, yeah. So, and if we need to, we can chat later on as well. Okay. So, all right. So, I'm asking you to go to advanced, okay, so that you can choose more than one word that you might want to talk about. So for us, it's going to be gender and conflict. And I'm asking everybody just to get one single source. And the source doesn't have to come from the library. It can come from the internet. And I'm going to get to that place in a moment. But I just want to just kind of get you acclimated to using the library just a little bit, because you're going to be using the research databases in our next unit a lot. Okay? And so I also talked about limiting sources to full text and scholarly text, etc. So we're gonna go back here. We're at Ebscohost, and we selected certain ones. I'm gonna press continue. And let's see. I am going to go to advanced search, and I'm going to start out with just gender, and I am going to put conflict. And the reason why that's there is because I did it before I saw you. Now I want to share with you that the terms that you put in here, you sometimes will need to play around with. So thinking about different ways to say things. So as you go about looking up something, whatever that topic is, that's another reason for you to go in and see a librarian to help brainstorm ideas if you can't come up with any on your own. I'm going to share with you that I also included the word norms. Norm meaning sort of rules, okay, or ways of behaving. Okay, so I'm going to limit my results to full text. I'm going to limit it to scholarly peer-reviewed journals. I am going to limit the year to 2010. to 2019, just to kind of narrow it down a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna limit it to English. Okay, again, I want it to be PDF. And I'm gonna exclude book reviews. And I could choose all these different things here if I wanted to. But I'm now gonna go to search. Okay, and so I had some narrowing down, but I have 251 here. And so when I first started looking, I will tell you, when I just put gender conflict and I didn't limit it, it was 18,000.
Gosh.
Okay, so having these limiters helps. So, and you could decide to clear it. Sometimes you could look for something and you can't find it because it is not limited, you know, it's too limited. So sometimes you have to play with taking away limiters. Sometimes you need to play with adding them. Okay? And so the first thing I always do is I look to see about the titles. Are there any titles that catch my eye? And it could be that I look at some titles and I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to actually look at something else. And so I'll change my search terms. You can play around with it. When you're looking for sources, it takes time. It takes more time than you think it does sometimes. So I'm just going to choose this one as gender matter, policies, norms, and gender gap, and work to home and home to work. Okay, so I want to answer your question, Axel. Here's the site link. It's on the right. So this can help you cite it here. Okay? You can, if you have it connected up, you can connect it to Google Drive. You can email it to yourself, which is my thing that I like to do. I like to just email. I like to find sources. I like to email them and then later on really look and see if it's something that I want to use as a source. I'm just looking for sources. So I would email it to myself and then I would take a look at the abstract. And it's nice they have the abstract in English and Spanish. So that says this article examines gender differences in work-to-home conflict and home-to-work conflict in 10 European countries and considers to what extent differences can be linked to the institutional societal context. Now, I may be interested in this, but I might not. I might go, well, because it's in Europe, maybe I want to look at the USA, right? Maybe I'm just going to look at this and see what that does. Okay, so the socialization of conflict and its limits, gender and gun politics in America. So I now have 208 relationships among individualism, collectivism, gender, and, you know, so you can, you know, narrow things or change things around based on what you want. So let's just open this up and let's look at the citation here. So it goes to cite. And so it gives you AMA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, Australian, Harvard, Chicago. Here's MLA. Now I want you to notice a couple of things. The first thing is the first line is all the way to the left. The second plus line are indented in. If you copy this, it may not exactly have the same margin, so you may want to fix it. The other thing that I notice is that sometimes it's highlighted. You see this gray highlight, so you might decide you're going to copy this. If you copy and paste it, make sure at the end of the copying and pasting that you highlight everything, change it to the same font, same font size, same font color, take away the highlights, because when I see, a lot of times I'll see a work cited, I will see that it's all different, and that drives me up a wall because it shows me that you are not taking the time to just fix it. Okay, so yes, the citations are absolutely here. Okay, so you could play around. I'm going to just play around and say gender conflict here and add my norms back in. Let's see what happens here. I have only 11, but it could be that these are 11 that I really want, or maybe not, right? So you look and see what happens and what's noted, and then you decide whether or not you want to change these terms up here to make them really wide or really narrow. Now I'm going to show you what happens if I clear all my limiters. And I now have 41. Now let's say, I want to just show you here, isolating the gendered component of men's physical aggression. That might be a really good one, but I'm going to change all of this here, make it super generic, which is where I tend to start. I will limit to full text because I want to actually see a source I can actually read if I want to right then. Oh, what happened? Let's try this again. How many of you have gone on the library website to find sources before? Anybody?
No, not me.
In high school, once.
Right. And you know what's interesting about that is that the library, you know how you judge a college or a university? One of the main things that's used in judging whether it's a good college or not are the libraries. So I want to challenge you to be willing to actually try to play around on the library's website, but also be okay with not being good at it, and also be okay with asking a librarian for help because they love to help you. It's like they're just dying for the students to come in. Okay, so let's look at this and see how many I have now. 16,000. Okay, so it wasn't 18, but it's 16. So when you're looking, you're 16,000. Oh my gosh, it's too many. And that's why the limiters from the publication date to the types to, you know, changing the terminology, you saw that my lowest one was 11, and now the highest one is 16, almost 17,000. Okay, so playing around with the terms that you use here, and the limiters on that initial page, and then also you can go down to the side here and start to limit things as well. So I just want you to feel comfortable with playing around with it, but I want to share that I don't expect you to be super good at it because I have the page here that tells you exactly what to do. And like I said, I go back to my page and look exactly what to do as well. Okay? All right?
So you know that one page where you select, like, if you want ebook or I don't know, it's just in alphabetical order. Where do you go after that page? Like,
okay, can we start again? And then
yeah.
let's go to here. Okay, so let's go to Ebscohost. Was that before Ebscohost? I think it's after.
After, yeah. I clicked it.
So
yeah, I'm there right now.
So let's just press select all. We'll continue. And then I want to go to, let's see. Here we go. it's this page right here, but I want to go.
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to go to advanced. Let me go to advanced, and then you can go down to the limiters, right? So what kind of thing do you want? What kind of book? Exclude book reviews, audiobook. So you just scroll down. Are you looking for ebooks?
Well, I mean, anything, to be honest. I just need to know how you got to that page, like the one you're on right now. But
okay, yes.
Yeah, now I know.
So you're going to Ebscohost and then you go to advanced.
Advanced, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm telling you, if you go to this page and you print this out, it tells you exactly how to get to that page.
Yeah.
Choose research databases and then scroll down for Ebscohost. And then go to advanced.
So for the assignment, for our assignment, we need to find one of those sources and post it up that's connected to our readings, sort of.
Well, yeah, about gender conflict, but it does not have to be a library source. It can be, but you will be finding, the reason why I'm starting out with library sources is because I want you to get a little less afraid of looking for library sources, and I want you to know that in the next unit you will be required to find library sources. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to do that. But let's go to the page here. I know that there's one person has a source on there already. Let's see. I'm used to my computer going more quickly when it's not on Zoom. Okay, so it's called the Outside Gender Sources Collaborative Wiki. So I'm going to click on that. All right. Yeah, Melinda sourced. Okay, so for this, all I'm asking you to do is define the source, okay? That relates to the key question, how does gender cause conflict? So you are going to type the name of the source, copy the URL, and include it for your link, and then include your name and save the page, okay? So for this particular one, you don't have to do the whole full citation, but if you find something that's useful, hers is called It's Women's Equal Pay Day, and she included her link separately. You can actually make the link right in there, and I'll show you in a minute. So let's chat a moment about using sources from Google, okay? One thing I want to show you is that you can go to Google Scholar. And click on it. And you can look at gender conflict. And deconstructing organizational taboos, the suppression of gender conflict. Now, sometimes you don't have access to the articles here. They make you pay for them. But what you can do is you can find this title, you can put it into Ebscohost, and most likely you will be able to find it on the Cerritos College library site. Okay, so that's another thing to do. So I think I'm just allowed to see the abstract here. That's with Google Scholar. But let's just go to regular Google and look at, you can say since 2019, since 2018, you know, include patents, include citations, there's books. So Google Scholar is a way for students to kind of bridge a little bit, like, okay, I'm a little bit, I want to find something here, but like lots of times these articles and things are a lot of money. I know, because I've found things that I have not been able to use, and I've had to find other ways. So let's just go to Google and let's look up gender conflict. Okay, and there's, oh my goodness, millions, 232 million results, right? Now, when you're looking at Google, and you will see this on the little video that I'm encouraging you to watch, called the CRAP video, CRAAP. It tells you how to find sources on Google and determine if they are reliable or not. One of the things to try and notice is whether there is a .org, a .gov, a .edu. Those tend to be more reliable. But even so, sometimes .coms can be, but you need to look and see what they're about, who they're trying to sponsor. Are they trying to sell something? What is their agenda? Okay, so you can look up things here, gender in conflict. Now, there's so many here, so let's take a look and say gender conflict. I'm going to say gender issues 2019. Let's just see what it comes up with. There's less. There's still a lot, but there's less. Okay, well, no, there's not less. There's a lot here.
More.
More. First, I'm like, oh, wait, no, there's less. There's more. Why the 4-day work week could help solve Britain's inequality problem, etc., and the gender pay gap. Gender equality, New York Post. Okay. Newspaper. I think I looked at this, which is why I may have even sent this to you guys. Notice all these things here. Oh, there's more stories. Where's my story? Oh, I get gender equality. I guess they look for things. The one industry where the gender pay gap is narrowing. So you can look at that and see if that's something you want to share. Either which way, the source that you are going to end up sharing on this wiki should be about a topic that you are interested in terms of gender conflict.
Okay.
So Melinda shared something about women's pay. Oop. Opened up. I unlocked my other issue here. You could share something that has to do with should women offer to pay on a date, right? Maybe you're interested in something like that, right?
That was a joke.
No, it's okay. You could say that, yes, right? Most men, dating etiquette. You know, you could look at this. Should you offer to pay on a date? Yes, Elite Daily. Now this is a .com, but this is 2018. Okay, dating etiquette and rules for women, first and second. You know, so there's lots here. Look at, oh my gosh, the numbers go up. You know, so you should choose a topic about gender that you think is important and interesting. And then what you will do, let me change my class here. This is my other class. I accidentally got closed out our class and our link. I'm going to open it back up, and let's just say, I'm going to choose one and put it in there just as a sample. And then I will answer questions and we can call it a day. Let's find our class. There we go.
those are the classes you get to teach?
Yes, some of them are other classes that I teach. Some of them are people that I observe. Some of them are workspaces. So there are all sorts of things. I'm going to go to modules. And let's go down to the link. There it is. Okay, I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to show you what to do when you find a source that you would like to share. Is all of you have permission to edit, so I'm going to press edit. And I am going to go down here, and I'm going to choose, let's see, I'm trying to see if I have one on here. Let's see, I'm going to go down here and just put gender. I'll do gender conflict, norms, USA. I'm going to search. And I want to find a short title here, just because. Let me see. I want to narrow the publication date, because to me, I want something current. And you notice that it has to update every time you move it. I didn't mean to. I want to actually even limit it more. I'm going to limit it to right there. Update. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to see if I should be able to, you all should be able to get to here. I'm actually doing something here. I'm going to copy the link here, and I'm just going to put how gender norms ... because it's too long. Keep going to the wrong class. I'm going to put how gender norms ... I'm going to put that there. I'm going to highlight the title. I'm going to go to links to URL. I am going to paste my URL here. I'm going to insert the link, and I'm going to put prof m-l, and I am going to save it, and we're going to see if it works, which is always a good idea to make sure to see if your link works. Okay. Let's see.
And when is that sharing a source thing due?
And it did, it worked. Yay. Okay, so let's see. All right, so let's go to our handy dandy modules again. I believe it's tonight, but let's double check.
Mm-hmm.
One way you can double check is by going to your calendar. Another way you can double check is by going to the announcements, because I always talk about it. Another way you can check on it is by looking at Wednesday, week 12. So we're in Friday, week 11. Wednesday of week 12 is next week. So you have through next Wednesday to find a source.
To the 10th.
Yes. So you have time. Okay. So actually next week I am going to add another Zoom meeting on Wednesday. I put the wrong date for Wednesday, and I realized that the other day, but I didn't want to deal with it right then. But we'll have another one on Wednesday about timed writing and some extra little tips and tools beyond the ones that I'm giving. Okay? So anyway, it's okay that you find a regular Google source. You can, again, go to Google Scholar, but I do encourage you to go to the library because the library is, you're paying for it. And you're going to have to use it next time. And once you get started looking up things, you can look up anything. And they have all sorts of different things that you can read and learn about, okay? So whatever it is you want to choose and use today, I want to look and see if they actually, yes, they got me to the actual article. So it's here, okay? So, all right. Do you have any other questions for me right now?
No, this helped. I wouldn't have been able to figure this out.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. So which part are you speaking of? Actually putting your live link in, or
yes, yes, that and the researching in the library section of it. Yeah, that would have been a little time consuming until I figured it out.
Right. Well,
But this helped.
I'm gonna also help with that a little bit more in the next unit, but I wanted to take some time now so that it's not like urgent, like, oh my gosh, I got to find these sources today and I have no clue how to do it. So.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
All right. Anything else?